Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here and welcome to DCS World 2.5 and Razbam Sims Harrier module. We'll just close that canopy just now because it's a little bit noisy outside. Today I'm going to do a little mission in the Harrier. The SA2 has just been added to the game and I thought it might be quite fun on the Persian Gulf map to take the Harrier up and try to attack an SA2 site. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult because it's not particularly a mission the Harrier is designed for, and also we don't have anti-radiation missiles. We do, but we have the sidearm, which of course in the present day doesn't even exist anymore because the inventory is exhausted. But however, in the sim we have them, and there they are on the wings there. So for today's mission, I'm carrying 2 sidearms and 4 AGM-64G infrared Mavericks. Like I said, it's the Persian Gulf map, and there's an island that has some Iranian units on it, including an SA2 site. And my mission will be to take off and execute it with great prejudice. So I'm going to break this video up a little bit. So the first part of the video is just going to be how to set the aircraft up, because there have been quite a few updates to the Harrier and the systems are starting to get more complicated, and so the startup procedure is slightly more involved now, mainly because the INS is now somewhat implemented. Usual disclaimers for the start. This aircraft is of course early access, and so what you're going to see is not the final state of the aircraft. Many systems are not fully simulated as yet, although it's getting there, I would say. So this isn't really a tutorial because if you're watching this video in 2 years' time, a lot will have probably changed. So with that said, let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the battery, and that will get us basic, very, very basic system power. I'm going to turn on the auxiliary radio, and I'm going to call for the ground crew to connect the deck cable. And that is for...
Request to turn on ground power.
So we'll wait for that to happen.
Copy. Ground power is now on.
Okay, so ground power is now plugged in. So there are a couple of reasons for this. This will stop us from draining the batteries, which on a cold night like tonight, that could be an issue. Secondly, it means that we can align the INS using data from the ship, because the deck cable carries data and power. So that's going to make alignment of the INS much, much simpler. So we should now have some power. So yeah, I can turn on my illumination. So let's get all of our systems up and running. We're going to turn on the the MPCDs, the multi-purpose color displays. Yeah, I'm going to turn on actually some interior lighting, because it's a dark night. There we go. It's much easier to see everything now. Let's get the HUD on, and the brightness for the HUD is now implemented, so you can actually dim it if you want. But we're going to put it straight into nighttime mode. There we go. I'm going to turn up the brightness for the HUD video, so then we'll get the forward-looking infrared. We'll power that up a little bit later, and I'm going to set the radar altimeter to radar. Okay. On the left-hand display, I'm going to enable the what's it called again? The EHSD. So this is basically your usual navigational display. Now, at the present time, because the INS is off, it's not really displaying anything at all. But if we go to data, it's going to display the current kind of system information, which is completely blank, and then go to AC. It's going to show aircraft information, which again, just now, is totally blank. Oh, actually, I forgot one step. I need my UFC brightness up, because actually when I clicked data, we should have got some information up on the UFC. So here we go. So normally, if we were doing a ground alignment, we would enter our latitude and longitude, and it would do an alignment based off of that. However, we can't do that when we're on a ship, because INS alignment requires the aircraft to be still. And of course, when you're on a ship, ship's moving, tossing about, it's not going to work. So we need to use ship mode, and because we have the data cable plugged in, that will actually work. So we can now turn our INS mode to C, because we're at sea, and then it's going to go through a startup, self-test, and then C-based alignment this will actually use information supplied by the ship's own navigational systems. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to go through a full alignment now. So while that's happening, I'm going to bring up the engine page on the right hand side so that we're ready for engine start. For today's mission, I'm going to set bingo at 2,500 pounds of fuel. Oops, bit fiddly. There we go. Okay. Right hand console is set. Behind the stick, I'm going to leave the other systems turned off just now until we get engine start. Left hand side, we're going to go left and right fuel pumps on. I'm going to turn on external lights. We have a 3-position switch here, which is off, NVGs, and normal. We're going to go all the way up to normal mode. We're going to go formation lights at half, navigation lights at dim, and we're going to turn on the anti-collision light at this time because we're about to do an engine start, and that lets the crew know to stand back. Oxygen system comes on, fuel shut-off valve to open, digital engine control system to on. Okay, and with that set, we should be ready to go for an engine start. And you can see here, if we look at our navigational display, it's finished doing the attitude, and it's now doing the full alignment. Once this counts down fully, we'll be ready to actually move the aircraft. So we're getting there. Just going to do a quick inspection of the aircraft from the outside. So you can see here we've got all of our lights on. You can see we've got our beautiful virtual Air Force skin on here, the low visibility ground goals. So very, very nice. And yeah, as you can see, we've got dim navigation lights, we've got dim formation lights, and we've got the anti-collision light flashing there. So we are ready to go for engine start. So with that in mind, all we have to do is flip the engine starter switch.
Warning, warning.
Cancel the master caution, and we're going to wait for the RPM to come up. First we're hearing the APU start. And once that reaches its operating RPM, it's spinning up the engine using the air starter. Going to wait for that to get to around about 9% RPM. There we go. We're now going to pop the throttle out of cutoff and into the idle position, and the engine will go for a full startup. And there we go, that looks kind of like it's stabilised now. Let's take a look at our navigation. It's just about finished alignment now. I'll just wait for it to go. And it's in OK mode. So yeah, quality 0.7, OK, time 3 minutes 10 seconds. So now we're going to flip the INS mode switch into nav, and we now have normal navigation. Now because we're going to be flying at night, and we're going to be flying using the night vision goggles, we're actually going to turn off the map. Let's come out of data mode, go to map mode, and turn off the map, because it's just far too bright for use at night with night vision. Oh, actually, with that said, let's turn the map back on for one moment, because what I can do is I can very quickly show you the briefing. So here we go. We're currently here, and we're going to be going... Oh, actually, no. We're here. That's the aircraft position. Waypoint 1 is our IP. The island just to the west of the IP is our actual target. If I jump to the next waypoint, we're then flying to this island. This is the rough location of the SAM site. And then waypoint 3 is our egress, waypoint 4 is landing. So let's pop it back out to data mode. And let's start setting up the aircraft systems. So we're going to turn on the flaps. We're going to leave anti-skids to off because we're operating on a ship. The yaw RPS stabilization system goes on. Landing lights come on. And the rest of these systems can stay as they are. On the breaker panel here, forward-looking infrareds to on, DMT system to on, probe heat to on. Okay, expendables, automatic, radar warning receiver to on, but a low volume. Jammer, which we are carrying today, to standby so it can warm up. Okay, and let's get that deck cable unplugged.
Request to turn off ground power.
Copy. Ground power is now off.
Okay, good stuff. So now the radio is COM1 and COM2 to on. TACAN. I'm using channel 12 today. Enter and power on. Clear TACAN from UFC. I'm just going to turn off the map again, as I said before. And if I hit TACAN, actually getting anything on the TACAN. Doesn't look like it. Might be that the TACAN's not working because the TACAN on the Tarawa has been a bit hit and miss. So I think it's safe to assume it's not on because otherwise it should be displaying distance, range and identifier information up here on the top left. So let's switch it back to INS waypoint mode and let's just forget about the TACAN. It was worth a try. But actually, did I put it to the correct channel? So 12. Maybe put it on 14. Let's just verify that. Nope, I did not. That's definitely not working. Okay, that's fine. Setting it to off and taking it off the NFC. Cool. We have to expect these things from time to time. Being an early access module. Okay, so that is the basic startup complete. So I'm now going to set the aircraft up for takeoff. Now that involves putting flaps to STO mode. I'm going to put my hover stop to 60 degrees because that's what we're going to use for this takeoff. I'm going to set the H2O mode to takeoff. There we go. And with that done, we are ready to go. So for takeoff, all we're going to do is we're going to turn off the parking brake, hold it on the toe brakes, advance the throttle to 70%, confirm that engine is stable and all the readings are normal, and then we're going to race towards the end of the deck. Just as we hit the end of the deck, we're going to yank on the nozzle control lever, and that's going to give us 60 degrees. At that point we should bounce right up off the deck and into the air. One last thing actually I should test before we continue. Two things in fact. Forward looking infrared, that's working, and night vision goggles, those are working, but I do need to adjust the brightness. And most of this mission we're actually going to fly with night vision goggles on because it's just far too dark. Okay, that's looking pretty good, but we'll turn them off for takeoff. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to cut the video here. That's the full startup, and in part 2, I'm actually going to carry out the mission. Join me then.